Identifying radiation. If you're given a radioactive item, it is quite simple to identify the nature of the radiation it emits. Alpha radiation cannot penetrate paper. Beta cannot penetrate a thin sheet of lead, whereas gamma radiation needs thick lead just to reduce the intensity. We can use these properties to identify the type of radiation being emitted. To do this, we'll need a detector attached to a counter. First, we must record the background count for a fixed time with no source present. Then, we put our unknown source, a small distance, maybe a centimetre from the detector, and record the count for the same time interval of maybe a minute. The small distance is to ensure that alpha radiation can reach the detector. This can only pass through a few centimetres of air. Taking the first reading from the second gives us the corrected count, the count due to the source. Now we place a sheet of paper between the source and the detector. If the corrected count drops to around 0, the source is a pure alpha emitter. None of the radiation emitted can pass through the paper. If the count rate reduces, but not to 0, there is alpha present, but other radiation, maybe gamma and beta as well. If the count is not affected, that tells us there is no alpha radiation present. Next, we place a thin sheet of lead between the source and the detector. If the corrected count drops to around 0, this means there is no gamma emission present, as it would be able to pass through the lead. If the count reduces but not to 0, there is gamma radiation and some other radiation present. If the count is hardly affected, the source is emitting purely gamma radiation.